Welcome to Spiritual as Fuck,
Spiritual as Fuck,
a podcast where we explore everything outside of the ordinary. I'm Liz Volpe. I'm a social entrepreneur, now psychic medium, teacher and mentor, with a huge passion to inspire people to dream big and change the world.
I'm Diane Driscoll, a coach, facilitator and speaker. I'm also a psychic intuitive, learning to incorporate my spiritual gifts into my life and business.
We're here today to share real and raw spiritual stories. It's going to give you a safe space to challenge what's normal and have some serious fun along the way.
We hope you're ready to get spiritual as fuck. Welcome back to another episode of Spiritual as Fuck. In this episode, we interview Claire Besley, the CEO and founder of Inspirited Solutions and the creator of Self-Directed Healing, a revolutionary healing modality that now has over 600 practitioners worldwide. Claire shares with us her spiritual as fuck journey, confessing that it's not something that she often has the opportunity to speak about in public forums. We touch on her spiritual upbringing, the inspiration and guidance offered by her father, and also the heartbreaking loss of her partner to suicide, as well as her calling to creating a revolutionary healing modality. Before we do go into the episode though, I would like to call out that we do discuss the sensitive topic of suicide. And this, of course, may be triggering for people whose lives have been touched by suicide. I still very much encourage you to listen, as there is such a beautiful message of hope and healing offered by Claire. I only suggest that you listen to it at a time and a place where you feel comfortable to allow any emotions to come up, and maybe that you have a friend in mind that you can call if needed. I also want to say that Claire offers us a mini healing as part of this session. So again, be mindful of what you're doing at this point in time. So maybe not close your eyes if you're driving the car or if you're just out on a work break. But to make it easy for you to go back to that segment, we are splitting it out into a separate audio file, so you can either listen to it for the first time in isolation or keep going back to it as a great resource.
I am so excited to have Claire here with us today. And I had a really good think last night. I'm like, how do I even introduce Claire? Because there's so much to what you do, Claire. You are not only an absolute boss lady, building an incredible worldwide global business. And I guess I thought the best place for me to start is to actually share my experience with self-directed healing, because many, many years ago, as all of us do, I was going through probably the most challenging time of my life. And, for anyone that's been through something really challenging personally, it can be hard to live day to day, having children, been in a relationship, attempting to get up every morning and act like everything's normal. And then underneath the surface, having all of these crazy feelings and, trauma and horrible things that you're really trying to work through. And I remember at that point in my life thinking, well, the only option I have is I've got to go and find a psychologist, or I've got to go to a counselor. And I tried a bit of that. And did it work? I used to sit and talk for a while, and then I'd kind of leave and think, well, I could probably carry on talking for 5 years every week, and I probably am still not going to clear that much shit French. Anyway, so I remember really clearly kind of throwing it out to the universe, like, help. And I found an advert of yours, Claire, and this must have been really, really early days for you. And wow, did it hook me in. It was like, come and experience a live healing. And I remember every bit of my body or every, hair just standing on edge when I saw that advert, and I was so called to you. So that's what happened.
Yeah, I didn't know that. So that's really interesting to hear.
Yes. Yeah. I came along and I remember having such strong feelings about it. Like I absolutely knew 110% that I was meant to be in that room. We met, there was, I think, probably 10 people in the room at that point. I came along with my friend for that support, and I was just open. I remember asking my angels, as cheesy as that sounds, like, please let Claire choose me today. And you chose me. Actually, I think everyone nominated me. Everyone in the room nominated me, and I'm like, yes. And I think I remember you hesitating, and I'm thinking, no, don't hesitate. Choose me. And I know that energetically you work on energy and who you were drawn to as well. But luck was on my side that day. And I experienced a self-directed healing that was completely profound and life-changing and vulnerable, put me in that real vulnerable position where I had to really sit through the pain. And honestly, that was life changing. From there, I think I came to you for weeks, and I've sent my mum to you. I brought my 5-year-old or 4-year-old boy to
Yes.
you to experience just how life changing self-directed healing is. So I just want to thank you.
Thank
You
you for
are
sharing that. It's my pleasure.
amazing. And I think probably the best place to start here, because the modality is very different, in you actually just explaining what self-directed healing is.
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you. And I just want to comment on that. I don't remember the actual session, but I remember you and your friend coming, and I loved your energies. And I thought, I don't know, there's just, I was actually drawn to you guys. And since then, actually, your friend did become a practitioner of my work as well,
Mm.
which was a really an honor. So yeah, all of that was in the early days, and it does stay close to my heart, you know. That's why we always stay in touch, I think.
Yes,
So
absolutely.
so thank you for honoring that work. Yeah, so look, self-directed healing, I suppose, is unique from any other healing modality, and the reason being is really simple. I had explored and sort of tried everything myself. So, from Reiki to EFT to theta healing, hypnotherapy, psychology, and I suppose what I observed was that each different modality worked on a different part of you. So
Mm.
some of it is talk therapy, working on getting you to just express yourself and talk about your feelings. Some of it's working purely on your superconscious or your soul state. Some of it's working on your body or your energy body. And I guess, I have a background. So my father used to write books on the evolution of the soul and the spirit in the body. And I was
Wow.
very blessed to be born into, I suppose, a family that was really spiritually orientated. The fact that he was authoring books, 40 years ago, really ahead of his time. I was really, really privileged. I think that's how I see myself, as very privileged to have
Wow.
grown up with that perspective. And we can talk a bit more about that later. But so coming in, I suppose, having a lot of awareness and knowledge from a spiritual perspective enabled me to look at these different processes that people were creating, see the value in them, try them out. But I did recognize that none of them were actually truly holistic, which probably
Mm.
sounds controversial, but if you're a hypnotherapist, you're working on the subconscious, you're helping people to shift those things that they're not aware of underneath. If you're a kinesiologist, you're muscle testing and you're helping to find truth. And if you're a psychologist, you're getting people to talk and express. But we're so layered, we're a mind, we're a body, we're a heart, we're energy, we're everything. And I suppose what was missing was that no one was doing everything all at once. Everyone was doing different aspects and different parts. But I think that the game changer for me was like, what if we worked on all aspects all at once? And not only all at once, but the second thing that used to frustrate me a bit was I'd go and I'd have some of these processes, modalities tested on me, and I didn't feel part of the process a lot of the time. So sometimes they're doing things to you or telling you to do things, but I don't feel my heart is really connected and involved. And I truly believe that
Mm.
the heart is really where our true power lies. And if we don't shift emotionally and feel things and consciously feel them, then it's not actually affecting us on a really deep level on all layers. So I knew I needed to create something that was empowering as well as holistic and very thorough and very fast, because I'm very impatient and I didn't like waiting 4 or 5 weeks for results. I wanted them now. So basically, self-directed healing is allowing yourself to have a facilitator with you that is extremely well trained in enabling you to process your emotions on a physical, mental, emotional, energetic, and spiritual level all at the same time. And the key is, if you actually release and process emotion and you find out really where it came from, you allow it all to move through the body with a lot of healing and forgiveness, then you're shifting your mind at the same time. Because once the heart heals, the mind clears. Once the heart heals, then the body heals. So it's like you're choosing the thing in the middle that then heals everything else. So we found that the fastest way to heal was actually to allow emotion to process, because as everybody knows, none of us really like feeling emotion very much, especially not the painful ones, right? But actually the quickest way to heal is to allow yourself to go into that pain. But obviously, yeah, so self-directed healing is a very thorough process that looks at what you think, what you feel, what's going on with your body, and enables you to resolve all of that in one process.
Oh my God, I love that. And I love how you say it's thorough, because for the person that's going through it, it's just so simple at the same
Yeah,
time.
it is.
Oh
Yeah.
my goodness. I mean, I remember sat with you and memories coming up that, oh my goodness, they must have been buried so deep down. And I'd cry them out and I'd be like, oh wow, I feel so
Yeah.
good after
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
It's incredible. I have to ask though, Kai, bloody hell.
Yeah.
Actually, two thoughts here. The first one is, I loved what you said about you just wanting to get to the answer of this fast,
Yeah.
because I think that's what I loved about the healing, is that I don't need to sit with a counselor or a psych for 3 years.
That's
I
right.
could come into your office for 1 hour and walk out a changed person, because I was a busy person running a business too. And in now, I guess this day and age, people want to be able to do everything faster, and get results and feel better faster. And I think that's just incredible. That's just a side note. But bloody hell, you invented your own modality. I mean, not everybody does that. Wow.
Yeah.
I want to go all the way back here. Let's just try and work this out. And I'm
Yeah.
sure there's so much you could tell us. But you mentioned, firstly, you were lucky to grow up in a family that had, I guess, gave you the base and the foundation of spiritual
Yeah.
beliefs. How did that look when you were younger? Like,
Very different.
tell your bed stories and he'd read you his book.
I remember like my father just had hundreds of books in his bookshelf,
Wow.
and he'd got them from all over the world, and every single religion, like every religious text was there. I Am That was there. All these just powerful, incredible books that some of them there was only 100 copies in the world, but he was just so passionate about learning, about evolution,
Wow.
about if past lives exist, about being psychic. I mean, Liz, you would have just died. There was probably 20 books on being psychic in there,
Living
and
in heaven.
ancient texts right back. He studied
Wow.
everything from, yeah, it was just incredible. And I guess, I have two younger sisters, and we would just spend hours looking at these books, and some of them had pictures of fairies and angels, and we were just like, for little kids, it was so exciting. And Dad really, I suppose, had so much wisdom that we just sit on his lap and ask him question after question. Why am I here? Where am I going next? And so I
Wow.
guess my curiosity, and obviously I realize now that it was something I was born to do. And so I actually understand, I don't really talk about this stuff very often, because I'll just preface this with saying, the whole purpose of self-directed healing is for it to be mainstream. And there is a spiritual base sitting behind it, but it's not what we usually talk about, because we want it to be open to everyone. But for this forum, I'm sort of happy to go there, so it's a bit of a first.
Great.
But I know that my dad used to actually tell me when I was really little that he'd had a lot of readings, and that he knew out of the three of us daughters that I was going to be the one to carry his work forward. And so
Wow.
probably from like very young, and I guess you could look at it and you could say, well, maybe that got projected onto you and you went and did it. However, my work is very different from what my father taught me. So, his was all about an intellectual perspective on spirituality, whereas I've actually brought it into embodiment. So I actually feel like it was an evolutionary sort of one he sort of brought it into through the mind, and then I've now transmuted all that to bring it out through the body. So it's been a really interesting journey. But yeah, as a child, like we would ask Dad about his past lives and who were you and what happened. He'd tell us these horror stories of having his arms and legs cut off.
Oh God.
Wow. But he certainly got us involved. It really became, and I mean, that's not really normal. Back then it was the 1970s. And
Yeah.
so it was, and he also was very selective that we went to a non-denominational school, which was not easy to find back then, because he always said, I don't want you to be influenced. I want you to go out and seek and find for yourself. So definitely the greatest thing that my father taught me was to have an open mind and be curious about things. And I'm very grateful for that. My dad used to tell us that he used to astral travel all around the world. So this is full on.
Wow.
He never left the country. I think once on his honeymoon to Singapore. But according to my father, he would just leave his body and go to all of the different libraries in the world.
Wow.
And just read books and research and get information, and he could just do it at will. So you can imagine as a little kid, I was like, Dad, teach me. I spent years lying in my bed going, let's go.
Oh my God.
This was my youth,
I can imagine that. Please let me
please, like, Yeah.
I relate to that because I know for me, I lay reading books in my granny's library, and
Yes.
I was like, okay, here's the process I need to go
Yes.
through. And I
And
would
you
be
just try
lying on
so
cushions
hard.
on the floor and willing myself to ask for check.
Exactly.
It never
But you
worked.
know, one thing that was unique for me was kind of strange, but as a little girl, I had this obsession with wanting to understand what it would be like to not exist. So I was asking
Wow.
myself these huge questions at a really young age. So I'd lie there for hours. No, my parents didn't know, no one knew. I'd lie there in the darkness and just go, what if I wasn't here? What if I wasn't here? And I'd try to not exist just so I could experience non-existence, which is crazy
Wow.
for like a little girl, but that was my natural curiosity that I was born with. And so, look, I think obviously I had what was very difficult for me in childhood with having this spiritual view was it was such a compassionate view of everybody and
Mm,
everything.
Yes.
My father taught me about unconditional love from day dot, you know,
mm,
and so that was really in my mind. And I just remembered really struggling emotionally because I would just have this outpouring of love and compassion for everyone around me, but it wouldn't come
mm.
back because other people didn't have that view or that innate compassion that you've just grown up with as normal and just love everyone, you know? So I think for me, it became life became difficult. I got bullied at school because I just didn't know how to do anything but love. So that
Wow.
was really quite challenging for me. And I think that was actually where this work really came from, was that feeling like you don't belong, that you're not the same as everybody else. So interestingly, my spirituality created
Mm.
the issue, but then it created the beautiful solution later in life. And I then grew, and you know, I kind of got into life like everyone else and got into boys, and but I couldn't change my 5D perspective. It's never left me.
Yeah.
You know,
Mm.
looking at, well, why did this happen on a spiritual level? What am I here to learn? Because I knew that's what it was all about, you know. So that everything changed for me when I hit 17, and I'd been dating my first boyfriend for 2 years, and he actually took his life 2 weeks after we broke up.
Oh, wow.
And so it was pretty full on. It was the first time I'd sort of had experienced love, and he was gone, and I didn't know why. And I remember like running to my dad and saying, "You've got to teach me how to go and talk to him." Like that, I was just like, it
Oh
was my
gosh.
first, it was actually my first spiritual experience in life. So prior to that, it was all my dad telling me. But when this happened, I actually dreamt it the night before. So he had passed away. I went to bed, and he came and was lying on my bed telling me, "I'm so sorry, I'll never see you again." And I just was hysterical. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't accept it. And I woke up and I ran up the stairs, and I said to my mum, "What's happened to my partner?" And she said, he's gone. That she found out the night before. Yeah, he
Wow.
hung himself in Templestowe.
Oh, Claire.
And so this was like when everything changed, because it was no longer this just exciting concept. Now he's come to me and told me he's not here anymore, and then the next day it's reality. So this is what I think made it different for me than for my sisters, because suddenly I've had a real life experience. He told
Mm.
me, I knew,
Yeah.
I woke up knowing. So that validated everything that I've been taught. And that's really the truth of the beginning of everything. I became a lifeline counselor by the age of 17, I think 17, 18.
Yeah.
And I
Wow.
just thought I'd never want anyone to have to take their life again. If I can do anything to change that, I will. And I can honestly say I must have worked with over 500 suicidal people, and no one's ever done it. So that and just the last thing on this, because I know I'm talking a lot, but I think it's really important for people to know this. I look back on his suicide, and I spent years blaming myself and thinking it was terrible. But I actually look at it now and think, I thank him. Because if
Mm.
he hadn't done that, we wouldn't have helped thousands of people around the world.
Mm.
So there's a part of me that actually looks at that suicide and feels like in some way that was meant to happen, which is
Mm.
tough, but
Yeah.
that's my belief now. Mm.
But it's a much greater of service to you, of service to, you know, the people that you work with,
Mm.
to bring that message, because it never helps any of us when we, you know, when we beat ourselves up about these, or we spend our life questioning for it. So the fact that it has triggered such incredible work and incredible
Mm.
healing
Yeah.
for people, that's absolutely phenomenal. And the way you explain it, of going from the, I guess, the intellectualizing and the experiencing your dad's spirituality, to then, no, I've
Mm.
truly experienced this, I've embodied it,
Mm.
I have had this, that just seems like such a catalyst, or that, you know,
Mm.
pivotal moment for you and the work that you do.
Yeah. Thank you. I'm actually
Mm.
so grateful to him because I feel like he kind of sacrificed his life early so that less people had to suffer. So I think it's really beautiful. And I hope that this makes people think a little bit differently about suicide sometimes, because it's very easy to judge when maybe truly we sometimes spiritually don't know why things are happening.
Mm.
Sometimes there's
Yes.
other reasons outside of our awareness. Yeah.
Has he visited you since then, Claire?
Yes,
Oh,
he has.
oh, we'd love to hear about that.
He has, and
Oh,
also my father passed in 2015, and he comes quite a lot as well, which is
Wow.
really beautiful. Yeah. Look, I think when my partner took his life, he was 19, a uni student. I was 17 at school, and I think, you know, that was very difficult for me romantically. It affected a lot of my future relationships. So, you know, when I'm dating someone, he'll often come if he likes them and go, this one's all right. You can stick with this one.
What a great dad.
oh, that's so
Yeah, yeah,
good.
you know, so that's quite cool. And yeah, look, I spent years trying to connect with him after my partner after he passed. And my dad tried to as well. But my dad explained to me that when people do that, there's a lot of healing that has to take place on the other
Mm,
side first before you can actually have any kind of communion with them. And I also think when I reflect, it was probably better that I didn't, because it forced me to go on my own internal processing and journey. So
mm,
so I never really got to do it when I wanted to do it, but later in life, you know, he'll come in dreams, and we've had conversations about it. He's come through with many psychics as well, which has been lovely. And that's why I feel really compelled to say that this was his will and what he wanted. And I think having that awareness and feeling that love and recognition from him and being able to have those conversations has been really beautiful for me too.
wow.
Mm.
So, I mean, psychically, you're obviously very,
Yeah.
very open, and
Mm.
I'm sure you have similar to beliefs to Diane and I, that everyone has the opportunity to tap into these, psychic senses. Do you feel that the idea and how self-directed healing came from above? Was it channeled? Was it how
Yeah.
did you get to the point of going through that pivotal moment and that sudden healing journey
Yeah.
yourself to having that idea drop in?
Yeah, it's a really good question. So, look, definitely, I believe that everyone has all of the senses: clairaudience, clairvoyance, clairsentience. And a funny thing is, like, I've got all of them. And then I remember someone saying to me one day, yeah, well, that's why your name's Claire. And I was like, oh my God. How did it take me 40 years to
I
realize?
know, so true.
I was
The
like,
Claire.
wow. Yeah, you know, I was born, they gave me that name at birth, obviously unconsciously. So that was a really beautiful moment. But look, I think for me, I was always a very intuitive child. You know, I just know if I was going to get the job or not. Like, it wasn't psychic, it was just strong intuition. My dad used to always say, you're so intuitive, you know. But it wasn't until I had my first healing that I felt so much energy move up and out of my body that it was like it cleared the way for those abilities to come through me and expand.
Mm.
And so I think for me, actually, I personally think one of the best ways to open up and enhance your abilities is to process all your stuff and heal. And
Yes.
then it's natural. Everybody has it. Everybody. There is no one that doesn't. It's some people are just, you know, better at it than others, and it comes more easily, but it's there for everybody. So everybody should do Liz's course and learn this. But
Everyone should heal.
yeah, that's right.
Yes.
Everyone should heal. So I think, you know, for me, I was always intuitive, but it wasn't until I started going and trying different things, feeling energy move through my body. And yes, so for me, my psychic ability just kind of went through the roof. I did practice as a psychic for a couple of years, and I did really well.
Mm.
I enjoyed it, but it obviously that wasn't really enough. I wanted more because
Yeah.
I had been through this trauma of someone I love passing, and for me, I wanted to help people deeply heal. That was what I was here to do. So the psychic work really enabled me to tune into people on a deep level, which I needed to be able to create this. But the way that it all came into being, you're right, Liz, it was a complete download. So I had a hypnotherapist living with me, and a theta healer was my client. And one day they were both in the kitchen, and I was just standing there looking at them, and I just went, hang on. And I just had this sudden epiphany. I work with the conscious mind because I was a coach. The theta healer works on the superconscious or soul, and the hypnotherapist works on the subconscious. And I just went, conscious, subconscious. Oh, hang on. It was just like a bang moment in time. That was the
Wow.
moment that changed my life. And I was like, hang on, wait, what if we tried everything all together? What if I sent my clients to you guys? And what maybe we need to do all the layers. And so we all went, wow, and we started sending our clients to each other, and we were like getting these incredible results. Then we all moved in together and we just went crazy with healing.
Oh,
Like,
wow.
Oh, the
and
energy in that
yeah,
placement must have been
yeah.
Oh.
It
amazing.
was crazy. People used to call us Charlie's Angels, and people would actually come. They'd book in for like we charged for $2,500, $3,000. They'd come for 4 hours, and we'd work on them, the three of us, all at once. And
Wow.
it was
Oh,
they
God.
literally would go on sleep for 24 hours because it was
Yeah.
such intense work. So yeah, it definitely was a culmination of becoming more psychic, becoming listening, understanding I'm here for a reason, being open, but it's allowing those moments. It's keeping your mind clear enough
Yeah.
that when it drops, you recognize it. And I think the really important thing is to not doubt. Because I would say
Mm.
the only thing that really truly differentiates me from a lot of the practitioners that we train is my absolute trust in what I feel and what I sense. I don't waver. And even if it's wrong every now and again, who cares? If you're right 99% of the time, you're better off to
Mm.
back it every time. So I have zero self-doubt to the point where I will argue with people about what I see and what I feel. And so I think that is a really good learning for everyone, is you've got to learn
Yes.
to trust.
There's such a huge message in that. And in some of our episodes talking about that, that inner sense of knowing that
Mm.
and following that. And we spoke about in our first episode about having that quiet whisper of intuition. And if you've got lots going on in your mind, the negative voices kind of override that. So
100%.
you're saying, keep following that, tune into that, listen to that, and that you build the muscle of that sense of knowing. And I know this is
Yes.
true for me because that sense of knowing and the embodied feeling of that is very big for me. So I love how you're describing this, and I love that it's not just the words you're saying. We can for those
You
who are going to
feel
watch
it.
this on YouTube, you can you can
Yeah.
see it, you can
Look,
feel it, the
you
energy behind
you
it.
also get I don't know if this has happened to you too, but probably it has. But when you're first kind of getting trained from the powers that be to be good at these things, you get put in some really difficult situations.
Yes,
And I
yes.
remember, like, I just want to tell you this one really quick. Like, I was at a nail salon, and I'm always a chatty person anyway, but I was sitting there, and you get this, when I was learning, I got this energy in my head, pressure, like, and you have to speak. And I didn't even know who I meant to speak to, what I meant to do. And there's this lady opposite me. I'm at the pedicure thing, and she's over getting her nails done. Like, there's a bit of distance, and it's full, right? And so I'm getting this, and I'm like, I have to talk to that woman. Oh God, someone's here, someone wants to
Oh,
talk to her.
shit.
I was
This is the
like,
story
no,
of my
it's a
life.
nail salon, I can't do it here, guys. Like, chill out. And then I was like, excuse me. She's like, yeah, I love your red nail polish. And she was like, oh yeah, I'm going to a funeral. I'm like, oh yeah, okay.
Oh.
And I'm like, well, I think the person's here, and they want to talk to you. And I'm like, is it a woman? Is she 53? Yes. Oh my God, it's my best friend. And so then the woman in the nail salon starts crying, and then everyone's just listening. I'm thinking, I better get this right because I've got an audience in the nail salon
Wow.
now. And I knew, like, if I didn't do it, that feeling wouldn't go away.
Yes.
Like, I had to do it. And so anyway, I said to her, look, she did this person die from a heart attack? And she said yes. And I said, okay, she had a recent breakup? And the woman said yes. I said, look, she wants you to speak at her funeral. And she goes, that bitch, that's what she wants. Oh no. She was so angry. She's like, even up there, she's still telling me what to do. And I'm like, I'm just sitting there, and I have no idea what's going on. Like, I'm just in the middle of this information between these two people. And she said, look, she actually wants to tell you that she died of a broken heart. So obviously that person left her, and it broke her heart to the point where so physically she died.
Yes.
And the woman just started crying, and she said, I knew. She said, I knew that it. So I guess the teaching in this was, we think that heart attacks are about physical issues, and my journey in healing is that everything physical is a result of emotion. So it was quite beautiful for me to be part of this. And she said, look, she just wants you to get up there and tell everyone that you must look after your heart emotionally if you want to have a long life. And the woman, it really resonated with her, and she said she was going to do it. I didn't believe her. She actually dropped a note back into the salon a week later for me saying, thank you, I got up on the stage and I did it. And I hope she feels really honored. So yeah, but for me,
Oh,
it was one of those situations like, oh my gosh. So this was quite a few years ago now, and I don't do any readings anymore. But that took a lot of courage, right, to
Yeah.
have that conversation when I was just new to it. So embrace
mm.
it, because when you get results like that, it goes, I'm on the right path. I've got to keep doing this. I'm helping people that don't have a choice.
Do you know what? I love that, because I think the minute that anyone is open to delving into any type of spirituality, the universe will force you into doing things.
Yes.
And I love that experience, because it makes me just giggle, because the amount of times I'm in a place and I actually explain that feeling, like when I am not given any choice, I have to
You
say
have
something
to
out
do
loud.
it. You have to do it.
Yeah, I feel the pressure. I'm
Yes.
getting
Pressure,
nudges.
yeah.
And then it's almost like I'm just desperate to go for a wee.
Yeah.
And I'm like, shit, I'm just going to say it out loud. Damn you. I'm shaking my hands like, oh. So yeah, that's really funny. And relating that coming back to healing, I really feel like, my journey of going through a really hard time was literally like a layer after layer after layer of blockage through my chakras,
Right.
and it felt like my whole energy was dense and hard. It was like I was filled with lead. And I guess my experience with self-directed healing was that shifting that energy and that trauma opened me to be able to have the opportunity to channel,
That's right.
these years later, suddenly, being able to call myself a medium is one of the reasons, the healing had to happen
It
for me
had to
to
happen.
Yeah.
obviously get to this. And I really wish that everyone would realize the importance of healing and putting the time and the energy and the investment into healing. Why do people avoid it?
Oh my gosh, so many. Honestly, when I look at where we are now and the things that we're doing, we have got 500 practitioners around the world at this point. It's done in 8
Wow.
languages. We're starting a not-for-profit. We're starting to work with kids. We're going to work in schools and corporates. But honestly, the biggest challenge we have is getting people to realize that they need it. And
Mm,
we honestly, if I'm really frank, should be a lot more successful than what we are because of the results that we deliver. But there is such a resistance. And I honestly think, and it's sad to say, but if you go to a doctor, you're going to get put on antidepressants, if you talk
Yes.
about your sadness or your anxiety. And I do think that we're so ingrained that emotion is bad, that you shouldn't be embarrassed, that you shouldn't be ashamed, that for so many people, the thought of processing that and going through that, they don't understand that it doesn't have to be hard. And I think it's really
mm,
overwhelming, and it does sadden me, and it makes our job very difficult, having to spend hours on the phone explaining to people why they should do it. All the people that work with me go, why aren't our doors just being knocked down? What we do is, it's so powerful, it's so fast, yet so many people are just so resistant. And look, unfortunately, it may take it sort of, for a lot of people that come, it's like they're on their knees and they've tried everything.
Yes.
So we now
yes.
say, once you've tried everything, come to us.
Yeah.
Really, they should come first. But if
You
you
want
if
them
you
to
need
do
to
it.
go and do all of that, then do it,
Yeah.
and you'll end up here if you're really committed.
Mm,
So, but I do think, unfortunately, it is the culture, it is the conditioning, it is the Western medical system that tells you, if you're anxious, there's something wrong with you. I personally don't think there's anything wrong with you at all. I think it's emotion that you don't know how to process. So the simplest way I explain it to people is, if you eat food, your body must metabolize it and it must come out. If you have a trauma from the past, and trauma can be anything from not being able to do up your shoes and being embarrassed when you were 2 years old. Trauma isn't getting hit by a car, it's anything that has made you repress emotion. So any emotion that you have experienced in your entire lifetime that you have not processed and released out of your body is still in there right now, is still in there, blocking your psychic abilities, blocking your ability to love, blocking your ability to receive love, to heal, to have good relationships. And not only is the emotion blocked, but what's blocked in with it is all of the beliefs. So with every blocked emotion, there's a belief: I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy, I'll never find love, I'll never be happy. So it's not only about shifting emotion out of the body, that embeds beliefs in you that you cannot tap out, you cannot remove by talking, because the emotion that's attached to them has to be processed to dislodge them and let them out of your body. And that's what people don't understand. So sadly and unfortunately, until people get in enough pain, they may not show up. My wish is that people could realize and have the awareness that you have to do this now, and then you'll have an amazing, much more amazing life like Liz, who now, is living her purpose, which is just incredible to see. And it's amazing that we do have people like Liz that go off and find what they were born to do and do it because they do commit. And Liz was very committed to this process.
Mm.
If I can add to that, Claire, because how you're explaining all of that, so, you being the practitioner, and, I guess the brainchild behind all of this, me sharing my own personal experience of someone who has, had mental illness since teenage years. And like, I no longer consider that because I have done some of the emotional healing, and very much for me, when you talk about the body, mind, and spirit elements of it, an area of blockage for me, which was huge, was around that body, the feeling it in the body, the embodiment of all of that and processing. But any of those unaddressed traumas, unaddressed emotions, the beliefs that we have, those limiting beliefs that we have, when we don't process them, for me, it ended up being in 2016, having a total mental health breakdown, having to leave corporate role, like, not being able to function as a mother, as a wife. So when the poster child for here's how not to do it and how to find Claire and healing, and we can do and it is the fact that the beauty of it is that it's self-directed healing. It is, you're not sitting on a couch, like, Liz mentioned about, you go into therapy and it's a talk fest, and I could see my life stretching out in front of me and thinking, I can't do this. I need to show up for my family. I need to show up for my daughter. I need to heal now. So when you say how quickly this is, how painless and effortless, like, it doesn't come without effort, I'm sure it still requires your participation in the process, but why wouldn't people want to do that? And for many of us, we don't even know what it is we need to heal. We just know that there's something in there. So that very early awareness piece of, it's not just my mode of operation, it is, there is something deep rooted that I need to shift, that I need to heal to become that person and to live my purpose. So, everything that you're saying, I feel for people who, and a lot of spiritual people do come with our backgrounds of trauma and, challenges that we've had throughout our lives. And it is knowing that, yes, there are alternative ways. So for me, the path of spirituality has been the one that has had the biggest significant shift for me. I'd like to turn that into a question, though. So for me, I know the more I heal, and we mentioned about, Liz unlocking her gifts through the healing process. For me, when I started to go through my spiritual awakening or my healing journey, whatever you would like to call it, I started to have psychic hits, these intuitive hits that were telling me, your purpose is to heal the land. And I'm like, I do not know what that means. I have no clue. All I knew that every fiber of my being was calling me back to Ireland, where I grew up. So this was massive, massive pull, sense of knowing, like absolutely 100% knowing that that is my purpose. But hey, I'm a corporate coach. I'm a facilitator, a speaker. I don't know what to do about this. And it started to morph a little bit more into, that you're here to heal the land and its people. I'm like, again, resisting that. So my question to you is, I'm sure that as you bring people through the healing journey, of course, now you are teaching and training and building this whole community, this global community of healers as well. What have you found to be the kind of tipping point where people go from that healing journey into that, now I want to be able to help others and to help facilitate the process of healing?
It's a great question, because as you were asking, that was what I was thinking as well. Like, interestingly, I would say when I was doing the practitioning work, I would say at least 40% of the people that I worked with went on to become a practitioner or to do the training. I feel like, and I know I have a lot of practitioners that refer people. So an amazing practitioner that I have, she works with a lot of clients in Canada and America, because it's all online now. We don't touch you, so you can have clients anywhere. She always says that they go two ways. They just come and get enough to feel okay, or they go all the way and then they want to help other people. It seems to be a natural part of the process that when you heal, you decide you want to be of service, the need to sort of be in the normal 9-to-5 type life just dissipates, and you have this strong drive and you have a knowing, and then you get the clarity, So there's a large percentage of people that do a one-on-ones and then become a practitioner, but incredibly, probably we don't really advertise anymore, because we find that if you put it out there, the universe sends the right people. And so the best people that do our training, I shouldn't say the best, but the way that we get them now is literally people ring up and go, I've just seen your website. I don't even know how I found it. I don't even really know what it is, but I know I have to do it.
Yes.
And they're the ones where you go, oh, you know, like,
Yeah.
because they just have, like you said, they just have that knowing, that callings. They hear a podcast, something just resonates, and they just have, and they're, you know what, they're the most exciting ones to work with, because
Yes.
they are already committed, because they know they're meant to be here.
Absolutely.
So, you know, like so you don't have to convince them, you don't have to explain. They just go, no. I know. Just sign me up and let's go.
And
so we do get that quite a bit. 90% of people that do the training, that's how they come to us.
And our listeners who are listening to this, and particularly those who, like me, feel a pull towards healing, you don't know what it is, you're not sure how it's going to work out in your day-to-day life, or how you're going to make, like, I mean, I'm not even necessarily looking to make a career out of it. I've got no choice. I'm being pulled in this direction. So everything that you're saying is like, okay, just get in there, go and do the healing work yourself, and it takes on a life of its own. It starts to unfold in front of you.
Yeah, that's why I think you've got people like Liz teaching people how to be psychic. Me, and well, I don't teach, but I have teachers, you know.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, we just had to get there to be able to open the floodgates for other people to come, because look, I feel very intuitively or psychically, if you want to say, that this is the year where there's going to be mass change. You know, we've been doing this for 10 years. And 10 years ago, people would have just been like, what is this? It was very, you know, not heard of. In my dad's time, they would have just thought he was crazy, you know? So, but I feel like there is the momentum now. There is a whole lot of incredibly powerful women and men that have got to that right spot in their being, in their sense of self, in their awareness and understanding of their service, that I do think now is the time. This next sort of 12 months, 24 months, I think you're going to see a groundswell of more and more people going. I actually think COVID was incredible, because it woke so many people up. They sat there having to sit in their stuff and go, you know what, I'm actually not happy. We had to reflect on our lives, stop being busy. And now people are coming out of the woodwork. You know, we have to shed that armor of, you know, I was in the corporate world as well, and we have to come out and we have to embrace this. But we don't have to be completely woo-woo off the charts, walking around like gypsies. Yeah. All three of us have corporate backgrounds. We're, you know, intelligent women. You know, this is going to become the norm now. And I'm glad that we're here ready, waiting for those people as they come. Because there's, you know,
I have to stop you because I'm getting a message for you.
Okay.
Oh, here we go. Really hard to sit here and be quiet. But
I can see that. I'm like, what's going on? Yeah.
Bring it on.
All over the place here. Just in terms of what you were saying, as you're saying, this year is going to be really big. I'm instantly shown for you, Claire. It's almost like the fastest train in the world. But leading from now up until September, things are really propelling. September is going to be a big key month for you. And I feel like what I'm being told here is actually there's going to be a male, and I don't know if you already know this, it potentially could be a mentor or someone else. He's going to be stepping in, and there's a key decision for September. But from then all the way through 23, 24, up to 27 is really fast for you. It's almost like I'm being told that right now you need to take a breather. If you can go on a holiday, do it fast.
I feel it. Yeah, you're spot on. I've been going through a lot of emotions myself over the last couple of weeks, like a lot of the last bits of grief, just anything that I don't even know where it's coming from, it's coming out. And I said to one of my other business partners yesterday, Parag, who's writing a book about self-directed healing, I said, I think this is coming up because big stuff's about to come and I need to be ready to step
clearing the way.
I can feel your energy actually around the heart, and it does feel like it is moving upwards for you.
It is.
But if you could, like, if you suddenly get an invite for a long weekend, or you've got a plan to go away, like, just see that as the validation you need to go and take a bit of a break, because what's coming next is so busy and fast for you, but really exciting.
Yeah, I have like an intuitive sense of, do I have enough people? Are we going to be able to handle it? You know, like we've got to scale everything quickly.
It's definitely planning and preparation time. Actually, the message around that is that you're already too late. You've got to do it with whatever you've got. Sorry.
Not what you wanted to hear.
Yeah, no,
All the
look,
time.
I mean, I know that, you know, some people say to me, like, someone said to me that why don't you do something else? I'm just like, you guys will understand this. I can't even process that question because
Yes.
I'm actually here to
Don't have a
do this.
choice.
This is actually why I'm here. There isn't
Yeah.
another choice. I'm here because of this. You know, if I
Yeah.
wasn't doing this, I wouldn't be on this planet right now, you know? So I know you guys will understand. And
Totally.
look, I'm really excited about this podcast and about you got like just love seeing Liz. You already had such a big network of people that looked up to you and admired you and all the incredible work you've done overseas with kids and that sort of thing. I think it's a beautiful platform, and to just take it to this next level, I think is really exciting to see what it brings. You know, I'm excited to be part of it.
Yeah, I mean, and Diane's the perfect co-host to go on this crazy ride, but also on a train going very fast.
Yeah, our own fast
Now,
train.
I'm going to put you on the spot, Claire. I hope you don't mind here.
Oh, sure.
Would you give everyone a taste of maybe what you do? Is that possible? I mean, we
think
are
so.
recording for YouTube too, but it's up to you.
I mean, I guess I can just take you through a little exercise to see if you can start to connect and at least find out what's in there. So maybe I'll do it with you guys, and then
Yeah.
anyone that's listening can try and do it themselves. So I just ask you guys just to take a deep breath, and I just want you to take all of your awareness into your body, and I just want you to ask yourself how you're feeling internally, how you're really feeling inside, and just find out if underneath the good feelings there's anything sitting there that doesn't feel right or you'd rather not have. There might be some guilt, maybe there might be some fear. See if you can just take some deep breaths and just scan your body and just, you know, if there's any sadness, grief, shame, guilt, anything at all sitting in there that you just know you'd like to get rid of. If there's any memory that comes to you, feel anyone's let you down, if there's any hurt, if there's anything at all sitting there. I'm definitely feeling energy in the throat, maybe for Liz. So, you know, if you guys want to feel into the throat, and whoever's listening, maybe we're going to talk about voice and being able to speak. If there's ever a time when you haven't spoken your truth, if there's any time when you feel like you've let yourself or someone else down, maybe let's just feel into that. So just take some deep breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth. And I want you to just feel the physical feeling of that emotion in your body. Is it sitting in your throat? Is it sitting in your chest? Notice what the emotion is. If it's guilt, if it's sadness, if it's anger, just breathe into it. Some of you might feel emotion sitting in your stomach, might be sitting there for a while. I just want you to take a few deep breaths and let yourself feel it. Let's just feel it together. And what's coming through to me right now is hurt. If you've got any part of you that has been hurt or feels hurt. So I just want you can say it out loud if you're alone, or you can say it in your mind. I just want you to say, I'm hurt. I'm hurting.
I'm hurting.
I'm hurting. And just, you guys tell me, just put your hand up if either of you can feel any hurt sitting anywhere in your body. And Liz, yeah, great. So let's just breathe into the hurt and just allow yourself to feel the hurt. Notice exactly where it is. If it's in your chest, in your stomach, breathe into it and feel it. And just give it a number. How strong is it out of 10? Is it really strong? Is it just gentle? Because it's okay to feel hurt. We all feel hurt. And what I want you to do now is just go into it and let it get a little bit bigger. So as you breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth, you're going to let this hurt. You're going to just experience it a little bit more. So just take some deep breaths and let that hurt grow. With every breath you take in through your nose and out through your mouth, just let yourself hurt. But feel it. Feel where that hurt is in your body and allow that hurt to be there. Let's just turn it up a little bit more. So let's just let that hurt get a bit stronger. Let's get more hurt together. Let's feel our pain together. I'm hurt. I'm actually hurt. I've been hurting for a long time. I hurt. We all hurt. Connect to your pain. If someone's abandoned you, if someone hasn't been there for you, if someone's turned on you, if a friend isn't around when they should be, just feel the hurt. Let it get a little bit stronger. See if you notice it moving. Just turn it up a little bit. Let's feel our hurt together. Let your heart speak to you. Feel what it's saying. Feel that hurt. Good. If you feel emotion, let it grow, let it build. If you want to cry, cry. Just breathe in and feel it. Let the hurt come. I can feel emotion coming now. So let's just feel it together. That's it. That's good. I'm hurt. It really hurts. My heart hurts. No one is fully healed. Feel your pain. This will only help you be better for everybody else. So just feel it. Notice now I can feel it getting stronger in the body. So let's just breathe in a little bit deeper and hold that pain a little bit longer. That's it. If you can feel it moving now in your body, just notice that emotion. It might start to move. It might move up. It might move down. Your job is to feel it without judgment. That's it, because I can feel a lot of energy moving in my stomach now. I'm really hurt. Say it again in your mind. I'm hurt. I'm hurt. That's it. Now what I want you to do is just let it get a little stronger. It's going to peak a bit now. Let's go higher. I'm really hurt. It hurts. You hurt me. That's it. Let that little 5-year-old inside you, let her speak. Let her feel that pain. That's it. Just let that pain come up. And now what I want you to do is I just want you to ask yourself a question. When was the very first time I felt this hurt? If you were to know, how old were you the first time you felt this kind of hurt in your life? Whatever number comes to you, just go back there with me now. Let's go back and see that little Liz, that little girl that was hurting. Breathing in through your nose and out through your mouth. And just let that memory come, and I just want you to look at that little you that was hurting. Just notice what she was going through at that time. See what she was feeling. And can you feel the hurt for her? We want you to feel it for her now, so that you never have to feel it again and she never has to feel it again. So breathe in and feel it. That's it. Feel it for her. She's been holding on to this for so long. And whatever it is that she was going through at that time, that pain she was suffering, I just want you to go in there, step into that memory, being the incredible woman that you are today, and just go and hold that little girl, and just hold her in your arms and feel it with her. Be with her in her pain. Hold on to her, let her cry with her. And I just want you to say these words to her in your mind. I love you, and I'm sorry that I wasn't there for you, but I'm here now, and I'm never going to leave you again. And breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth. Just hold on to her. Feel it in your body. Feel every emotion that you're feeling in your body. And I want you to get that little girl, take her in your arms and take her out of there. Take her to the most beautiful island that you could ever imagine, where it's safe, it's calm, sun's shining, and just be there with that little you. Breathing in through your nose and out through your mouth. And tell her she never has to go back. She never, ever has to go back. Breathing in through your nose and out through your mouth, just feeling all of it as much as you can in your body. Allowing that little girl to feel. Breathing in through your nose and out through your mouth. If she feels hurt, let her feel hurt. And I just want you to ask her one question. I want you to ask her, what does she need from you more than anything else? What does she need from you more than anything else? Take some deep breaths. And I want you to just commit to her that you're going to love her forever, that you're going to put her needs first, that you're going to listen to her, that you're going to allow intuition to come through her, for her to have peace, that you're going to help her to process all of her feelings so she doesn't hold on to them, and just be there, love her. And what I want you to do now is I just want you to give her a glimpse, like on a TV screen, of all of the amazing things you've done in this life that she had no idea you were going to do. I just want this little girl who's been in a lot of pain to have a moment to see who she gets to become. And I know her mind's going to be blown, but I just want you to let her have that moment of awe of seeing who you really are now and who she gets to be one day. Just breathing in through your nose and out through your mouth. Just letting that little girl now shrink down so she becomes so little that she can stand on your hand. And then I just want you to take her and put her into your heart so that she can be with you every day for the rest of your life. And you can love her and listen to her and honor her in every moment. That's it. Just breathing in through your nose and out through your mouth, and just taking your time. Take some deep breaths. Noticing how you feel in your body. Noticing how strong that hurt is now, if it's still there, if you can still physically feel it, or if you feel differently. Taking a couple more deep breaths, and we'll just gently come back into the room. We've just done a very, very, very quick one today. Very light, just to let you have a tiny taste. I know Liz has been through a much deeper process. This didn't feel like much for her. But at least, yeah, you can have a little experience of processing emotion rather than running away from it, just feeling it. Yeah, how did you guys go?
Diane, I'd love to hear from you.
For people who are listening rather than watching on YouTube, I'm a bit of a mess at the moment. The tears are flowing. I cry quite easily anyway. But yeah, what I feel is the resistance that comes up. First of all, it's like, no, I don't want to go there. I don't want to go there. And I'm used to, or somewhat used to now. Like, I'm on my healing journey for quite a while, so I allow that relatively easily. But I was aware that, hey, I'm on camera.
Yeah, yeah.
This is on a
God.
podcast. But it was still a case of giving permission for it, for this to come up. But what I could feel the sensations. For me, it was the blockage between the heart and the throat. So when you're talking
Yep.
about the throat chakra,
Yep.
it's a case of, and a sense of healing that needed to happen within myself to give myself forgiveness for some of the things that have happened in my past. But it is that when you shift then from here's what it was to now here's the future state, that like my face just lit up in a smile. It was like my heart was cracking open, my, being so unbelievably proud of myself, even
Yes.
just to give that little girl that glimmer. So for me,
Yeah.
that is huge. And I couldn't help, because my mind goes into the analytical, the experimental. I think of the power that this would have had I done that at that early stage where the wheels were falling off for me. When you come in crisis mode looking for healing, and you're looking for a psychologist, a therapist, someone, or the antidepressants, like, to do something like this. Yes, it's not pleasant to go through this, and this is a short snippet of
Very
it,
short.
but it's still a case of, at no point did you ask me what have I been through. At no point did I have to reveal that to any other person. So the power in being able to, go through, to be guided through that process myself, and to know that I have released. And for me, that big thing of so many years of not releasing things through the body, like being able to do that and process the emotions, just the experiential side, but also the analytical side of me analyzing the process I've just been brought through.
People don't always want to talk about it,
Yeah.
Obviously in a one-on-one there is more conversation, and Liz will be able to tell you, like, that was tiny. Like, we go deep, you'll howl. Like, I mean, I don't know if Liz, if you want to comment.
Yeah, I do actually. Tears in my eyes as well. What I found really interesting was how fast I was able to drop in, and that's probably because I've done,
So much.
sessions, and my body allows me really quickly. And yeah, at first the getting into and the forcing to feel is tough, but because you see and you feel the reward so quickly afterwards, you want to get down, you want to get deep and dirty, you want to get all the little things that are kind of there. And that was just as beautiful as the first time I ever did it. And yes, it's quicker, but not any less powerful for me, having experience with it. And I don't just say this because you sat in front of me, Claire, but this healing is so powerful. And I've told a lot of people about it over the years. I've sent people to come and learn this, because whether or not, you have an idea of becoming a practitioner, to me, it's not even about that. To me, as a mum, my duty as a mum is to take my children through the learning of that. It's important to deal with emotion. It's important to feel before they grow up and go into the big wide world. As an employer with staff, it is important that I am looking after people's mental health, emotional health, and making sure they're happy working for me. Like, we all have a responsibility for ourselves and the people around us, and just to be bloody happy, right? Like, why hold on to this shit? Like, commit a short period of time, work through it. You will not regret a thing. And I just highly recommend anyone going to actually give self-directed healing a shot. Claire, where can we find you and your practitioners? How can we get involved?
I'm going to tell you, but I just want to tell you one thing, Liz, because I don't think you know this. So Liz came to me, and I'm not going to go into detail, and she asked me to work with her son. And I didn't want to, because I had never worked with children. And Liz was like, no, you have to help him. You can do it. And I was like, no, I've never done it with children. I'm too scared. I don't even have children. I know nothing about children. But she really believed in me, and you pushed me. And your son came, and he'd experienced a bit of a trauma. And he was the first child that I've ever worked on. And I just firstly want to thank you. And I think so many children out there would want to thank you, because your son came and he had some grief, and he's just the cutest, most gorgeous, handsome little kid you'll ever meet. And I'll just never forget, because I'd never seen this process done on a child before. I'd never done it. And I just remember him. I said, where are you feeling it in your body? And he said, it's in my chest, like straight away. He knew where it was. And I'm like, what color is it? He's like, it's green. And then I took him through the process, and then he's like, now it's in my throat. Oh, it's white. It's gone at the top of my head. It's gone.
Yeah.
And I just remember being in shock. Like,
It was so much faster than an adult,
oh
wasn't
my
it?
God, like adults take 40 minutes. He took like 10. I felt guilty charging Liz. Like, I wasn't here very long, you know? And then he stood up and he was like, fine. And then I'll never forget. He's like, Mummy, can I come back and see Claire next time I'm sad?
Yeah, he did.
But the reason that I tell this story is I just wanted to honor you and thank you, because I would never have done this on children if you hadn't pushed me. And I can proudly say we have so many practitioners now that work with children from 5. We never would have gone that young if he hadn't come all the way right through their teens, like hundreds, Liz. So I just wanted to thank you for that. And all the mums can thank you as well.
What a pleasure. I mean, yeah. Again, and it's one of those just absolute knowing that, yes, children should have this. Why not? You know, they're like the most important people to have it, in my eyes.
Exactly. So. And we wouldn't be trying to put it in schools if it wasn't for you, Liz. So we realised, because of your son, because of that experience, that children process, it's actually a natural process that we're taking them through that we lose as we get older with the conditioning. So because of that experience, we then went and we've tried it in 3 or 4 schools. We've built programs for schools, programs for parents, and that's actually because of you. So
wow. I don't think it's just because of me, but
it is. I would never have done it if you hadn't pushed me, I'm telling you. Anyway, so if you want to find out more, our website is inspiritedhealing.com. Our Instagram is Inspirited Solutions, and I'm Claire Besley. You can find me on Facebook or LinkedIn. And we have training coming up. I think the next date is February. We've got February and April of 2023. So if anyone's interested, and I'm sure Liz will.
And we'll pop all of that in our show notes, of course. And I guess just adding my little psychic medium style little end bit on this, feel into this, feel into self-directed healing. Have you got that urge at all to go and give this a shot? Have you got the urge, or has something just piqued your interest where you're like, oh man, I'll just go and check this out? Because that is the voice of intuition right there, giving you that nudge. So yeah, Claire, absolute pleasure to have you on the show. Thank you for changing my life and for all of the other lives that you've changed, and keep doing this incredible stuff that you're doing around the world. Thank you.
Thank you guys. Thanks for having me.
That's it for another episode.
Thank you for listening. Did you know that we are building a movement of 1 million people who are spiritual as fuck? We would love for you to join us. You can start by leaving us a review on Apple Podcast. Every month, I'm going to intuitively choose one person and do a psychic reading for you. So
follow us on Instagram, send in your stories and topic suggestions, and join the movement
at spiritual.a.f. Until next time.
This is a Guide Your Light Network production, creating podcasts with purpose.